What's up, buddy?
Man, Chris, let me just tell you thanks for coming on to the show, man. Let me introduce you to my co-host, Kenny Pitts II. He's from North Oakland, one of the greatest out that area. Say, this is my boy Chris right here, Ken.
How you
What's
doing,
happening, Chris?
Ken?
All
What's
right.
happening? Nice to
Well,
meet you.
McCall, man, you know,
The wind ain't too much, is it? I'm sitting outside.
no, man, you look good, man. Ken, you look
Cool.
good.
Thanks. You
Looking good,
too.
nice and bright, and everything looking good.
Okay. Good.
Man, hey, Chris, like I said, man, let me just tell you a little bit about what this show is about, man. Basically, sitting around this COVID-19. Even prior to COVID-19, man, I was getting a little irritated with like how the media was going in the last 10 years or so, in my opinion, like all the sensationaling over like superstars, celebrities. And I ain't really mad at them, man, because I grew up like, I like everybody, being what they are.
Right.
But it's to a point where it's all regurgitated, and now it looks like a lot of people don't really get to hear like average stories and stuff. So I decided to create this little show to create a platform for people who are successful to try to tell their stories and people who impacted their life. That's basically what it's about, cuz.
I love it. I appreciate it. That's a good thing you're doing because you're right. A lot of people don't just get to hear, regular stories. Even I tell my kids all the time, from where you start to where you end up, you may just be a banker. But if you don't know that person beginning, you don't know how far they really had to rise to get there.
Yep.
So,
Well, man, Chris, what we do, we usually have a little lineup of questions and stuff.
shoot.
Basically, we always start off with COVID-19. It's not, it's unprecedented times, and the whole world is affected by it. And so we like to start the show off with that. So just go ahead and just how has COVID-19 affected you and your family?
Oh man, it didn't affect the world. So, it didn't affect me by I'm a teacher. So not really being able to get to the students and deal with the students on a one-on-one basis is challenging. It also brought up a lot of other things that I don't think a lot of people knew about. I work at Fremont High School in Oakland, and only 1 out of 4 of our kids had internet when this first started, which is something I never really thought about. I just assumed everybody had internet. And then it also brings up, well, what if you got 3 kids, and 2 of them school age, 1 in middle school, high school, how you regulate who gets time if you only have 1 computer? So I think it affects us, it affects people middle class and lower more than it affects upper middle class to people who have money, because I know a lot of my students don't have 3 laptops if they got 2 brothers and sisters, or even if they have internet. And this the Bay Area, where this the tech capital of the world pretty much, to where it shouldn't be we shouldn't have students that don't have access to internet. Can't go to the libraries because they're closed. I mean, libraries offer free internet. You got kids sitting in front of Starbucks and different places like that trying to just get their regular schoolwork done. And it shouldn't have to be like that, because it's unfair what it's going to do to me. What I think it's going to do is make the gap that's already there a little bit wider. I just heard today that schools in Alameda, they shutting down. School is out. So they're going to get out 6 days early. And to me, that's just saying, okay, when the tough get going, we just give up. It's only 6 days. They might as well ride that out.
Right. Right.
But yeah, and then as far as the death toll, man, it's amazing. I mean, I'm 50 years old, and something like this has never happened in my lifetime, where schools shut down, everybody walking around with masks on. I feel, maybe it's just my nature. I see masks, I feel like everybody is suspect everywhere I go. Everybody looking, kind of like, why are we all, but it's what we have to do, so I don't know. It's affecting, I haven't seen my mom since this started. Mother's Day passed. I didn't get to see my mom. Easter, things like that. Churches, haven't been able to go to church because the whole world is just kind of in a pause. So, I'm trying to do the best I can, sit, clean up, try not to get too fat.
Hey, good luck on
Yeah,
that.
good. Yeah, man, it wasn't working. I had to stop buying. I was eating ice cream sandwiches and cookies for like the first 3 weeks. I was like, hold on, let me slow down because we don't really know how long this gonna last. But what's funny is when this first started, within the first week or two, my daughter's in the Air Force, and she said, "Dad, this is gonna be 5 to 6 months." And I said, "Well, what make you say that?" She was like, "Well, they're not gonna tell everybody it's gonna be 5 or 6 months in week one. People will panic." She was like, every 30 days, they just gonna extend it. And so far, that's what's been happening. So
Absolutely.
just make you think, everything's crashing. The financial situation in this country has never been worse. But, when you think about, or, we learned about, the big crash on Wall Street, people was jumping out of windows. And this is actually worse than that. But just how they feed us the information, people don't react the same. It's like, oh, it'll get better. It'll, this, that, and the other. We're going to get a little check, $1,200 for, 3 months of not, I don't know, even that was like, I don't even know what that was. I was trying to put like a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. I mean,
Right.
It's just not going to work, So especially people with families.
They gave you about 17 hours a day.
That's it. And what you going to, wow. That's nothing, especially if you live in California, Northern California. That ain't gonna pay for a studio out here. Maybe you might get 1 month, maybe, but that's nothing. Especially when you consider the gap between the haves and the have-nots. You got the 1%ers. They not feeling this. They only feeling it because they workers not working. And then you got big companies like J.C. Penney's, they just say, oh, well, we get our little money and we just close up shop. And that, and that's just on a bigger level. But you think about all the ball games been missed, all the people working concession stands and ticket takers and security at a ball game. But for a lot of people, that's a second job to make ends meet. And now you done lost that. Who knows what didn't happen on your first job? So it's definitely something. It's definitely something to be said about how we could handle this as a society better. How we really have to look out for everyone because this is affecting everyone.
Absolutely,
and it's crazy.
Hey, let me ask you, Chris. That's really deep, man. That's a good point. Talking about the gap it's gonna widen a little bit between the haves and the have-nots. Yep. Totally agree with you on that case, and that's why I think it's more important now. I was talking to my daughter, and I was like, "This is the time when you want to really harness your creativity and sharpen up all your life skills. Your academics.
That's it.
Your academics. Draw a plan out. Start dreaming right now. Like,
hey,
right now, you think you
it's never too early." I tell the kids all the time, it's never too early to start dreaming. And, I work with a program, first little plug, Girls on the Run. It's a national program for girl empowerment, to help girls to start dreaming early, teaching them life skills, how to be healthy, how to not just physically, but mentally have a good outlook on life. Because a lot of girls, all colors, creeds, even now in this society, I don't know if it's a lot of positivity. If you're too strong, they call you a B. If you're too weak, then, you're a follower. So, it's a real good program. It's national. It's definitely in the Bay Area, Alameda County, Sonoma, Marin. Anybody out there who has a young lady who, might need a push in the right direction, they definitely need to look into Girls on the Run. Teach them life skills. I got a daughter, so that's always going to be something. I got a daughter and a son, but I really feel girls can use that. But yeah.
We're going to get back to that in a little bit later in the show, but that's like an outstanding program. I want to ask you this. Do you know anybody that got the COVID-19 and you're, personally or?
Actually, one of my friends, his mom got it, and they
Okay.
put her on a ventilator, and she was doing real bad. But you know, she kind of a tough old lady, and they caught it early enough to where she's still sick, no doubt, but she hasn't, you know, passed away yet. So that's the only person I really know. You know, I've heard about people, and you know, I know some members of the church I go to, and got it. So but it's just like I say, you know, you older, you know, is it, you know, it looked like pneumonia. You think you just sick, you wait too long. You know, a lot of older people scared to go to doctors anyway.
Yep.
And, you know, that's a bad mix right there. But, you know, I've heard about people 35, 45, 50 getting it and passing away. I mean, I really don't know the numbers because, you know, one thing about the numbers is like, how do we really know? You listen to one news station, they say this. You listen to a different news station, they say that. So, you know, it is a lot of people pushing their agenda. But, you know, I looked at the world outlook of it around the whole world, and it's definitely a problem. You know, and it's just like, you know, I'm looking at it. I was reading the paper today, and it's like, we gonna pull out the World Health Order, like, you know, organization, the World Health Organization, like we gonna pull out of that? That don't seem like what we should be doing. Seem like we need to all stay connected, you know. It just remind me like this is our Independence Day where the whole world fight the aliens. We need to all be united, one fighting this virus.
Yes, sir.
So
Totally agree with that. Ken, you got anything on this COVID you want to ask Chris about?
Yeah, we've been asking people, do you have, you know, any conspiracy theories? What's your thought on it? You know, how it came about. Do you have any theories on that?
you know what? And I love conspiracy theories. You know, I figured I saw one thing that said, you know, it's COVID-19. So it's 18 other versions of the same virus. We just been ahead of them. And this one we not ahead of. So I don't know. I really don't know. I would love to say, you know, this was created in a lab or something. I don't think, I really don't know. What one thing I did hear today is like, you know, the emissions, like the earth is gonna heal itself. Whether if it gotta get rid of us, the earth ain't just gonna let us kill the ozone and kill everything. You know, it's less planes flying, it's less people driving. They said that the emissions rate worldwide has dropped like 17%. So that's huge. You know, it only sounds like 17%, but when you go from, you know, it's a plus, it's always a plus side, plus side, plus side on how much stuff we put in the atmosphere to have actually a negative. That's like a huge gap. So I don't know. I don't know. If you know something, let me know.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out.
Man, I don't know. I mean, but once again, I wouldn't doubt it. It wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't be like, oh, what just happened? Nah, I wouldn't be like that. A lot of stuff that happened don't really shock me. You know, history tells us that, you know, it's some evil out there in that world. And that's how they control population. You know, is this a population control thing? You know, who knows? You know, just make people all think, oh, we need this vaccine, and then everyone run out because we didn't make this big deal out of it. They get this vaccine, and then you have people dropping from that because they didn't do the necessary trials and take the time. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say too much. I don't want them people knocking at my door.
Well, hey, well, let me that's that. I mean, that's fair. Let me move on. So this topic is right up your wheelhouse. You know, you work in a school, Oakland Unified School District for many years, and work with a lot of kids teaching. Talk to us a little bit about the importance of tutoring, particularly for families. Let me back up a little bit. So a lot of people, obviously people have kids, but that doesn't really, what I found out is that a lot of parents, even my mom, I use my own life. My mom was like 40 years older than me when I was in high school. So I couldn't really go to her for algebra help or none of that stuff.
No.
So I had to really just kind of figure it out myself. There was no internet. There was no Googling, no YouTubing. So I had to really hang out with a smart kid, or either hopefully one of these teachers will pull me to the side. I don't want to get too much about Encino High School. It wasn't really a great school to me, in my opinion, as far as the faculty, the coaching staff, all that stuff. I'm not really happy when I look back at it. I am happy about the people I met and a few teachers and a lot of my good friends, but the structure of the school, when I look back, it wasn't conducive for a lot of kids to be successful if they didn't have all the tools. If you had the tools, you had the parents, then you were good. But if you didn't have the tools, well, you better have been driven, because it wasn't really a lot of help, in my opinion.
No.
So with that being said, what is the importance of parents to come out the wallet and get their kids some tutoring? Because if they're expecting the teachers to do it all, then their kids are going to get left behind. So can you talk about the tutoring?
It is. It's huge. Tutoring, getting your kids all the help you can is important. And a lot of people think like, yeah, a lot of them, you might have to come out the wallet. You might have to go to A+, or, they got a bunch of different places that will tutor for pay. But it's some free programs out there too. Some after school programs, there's some mentoring programs. I tell a lot of my parents, if you got a middle school kid that's struggling, you need to go to your local junior college and sit in a math class. And you know what? Find one of them students who's just in the class. Maybe they could have never even known this could be an opportunity for them. And be like, hey, you think you could help my kid study for, $15 to $20 an hour for 2-3 hours a week, 4 hours? That makes a difference, because in math and science, it's a right and a wrong answer. And if you don't have the right formula, if you don't have the right foundation, you're not gonna get there. It's plain and simple. I'm a product of that. I'm horrible at math, and I always have been. But I feel like I can add, subtract, and basic math. But when it gets to algebra and stuff like that, I never really got the specialized attention to where it made sense to me. And that's the thing. You have one teacher trying to teach 30 kids, in some cases more, and it's hard to give them all that individual attention where they will get it, where it makes sense to that student. And, I tell kids, parents all the time, you got to advocate for your kids. Don't think you being a bother coming up to that school. That's what you have to do sometimes. If your kid keeps coming home with D's and F's and low C's, it's a problem. I tell, when my kids were in school, I told them all the time, you got the rest of your life to have friends. These people you're looking at now is kind of like your life competition. Learn some social skills, have some friends, but you don't want to hang out with the DNF dudes. They not helping you. They gonna help you get more likes. That's about it. But they not gonna help you when it really come down to the nuts and bolts of your education. And parents really, really, and I think this is showing a lot of parents how important teachers are. Because now a lot of parents is having to homeschool their kids, and not everybody have one kid or two kids. They have 3 and 4 kids, and you trying to go from 2+2 basic elementary and basic grammar to pre-algebra, which you might not know. Luckily, the kids got Google and everything. I tell my daughter all the time, I don't want to hear you can't get it done, because that phone you have is smarter than the whole, 2,000 square foot library at the University of Idaho. You getting it all right there. We had to use microfiche machines, looking up old articles and all of that. So it's all so instantaneous. But if you really, really concerned about your kids' education, you might have to come out the wallet a little bit. And I tell a lot of my parents, basic education is good. That's what public schools is for, to be honest. I've been teaching, 19, 20 years, and it's basically just teaching you basic education. AP classes, college prep classes, yeah, those are for the kids who might be a little bit more advanced. But if you can get through high school with basic education, that could take you a long way. I have a student, I taught him like 4 years ago. He just graduated, barely graduated. but that wasn't his thing. He was real mechanically inclined, and now he owns a small shop. He just opened up his first small shop and like auto repair shop. So you can be successful in many different ways. You know, going to college ain't for everyone. That don't mean if you don't go to college, you won't be successful. You can be highly successful without college, but you gotta, I try to teach my kids, find something you like to do that you would do for nothing and turn it into something, because you could do that too, especially when you're young. But if you're trying to get your kids, because you see this pay gate where people just paying to send these celebrities is paying basically a dude that's supposed to be reputable, a college admission guy, to help you get your kid in college, and basically saying, well, if you give me 200,000, I can get the kids into the college of your choice. And that's on the low scale. People were giving up like, you know, $500,000 to get these
Well, the
kids
one
in
actress,
college.
remember the one actress got caught. She was trying to get her kid into UCLA, and she paid to do $5 million. Remember that case?
Right,
$5
right.
million. So
Million.
when I hear, let's say, a low income family or parent or dad or mom say, "Man, I can't pay no $40 an hour for no tutoring," but your kid got a pair of J's on them.
Oh man, stop it. Don't even
So
get me started on that, Brown.
so
The
so you know
kids
if
be
you got
walking around with the chrome posits that's $320, but asking me for a 25-cent pencil every day. Like you got the iPhone newest, you got the Beats headphones, the Gucci belt that you don't even wear right. You just got the belt. You got the $320 chrome posits. You know, you got the G-Force watch, and they parents just give it to them. You know, I tell the kids, like, especially around this time of year, a lot of the parents are renting limos and doing all these parties for your kids. I'm not saying don't celebrate your kids graduating, but that is what you're supposed to do. We didn't send you up to that school for 4 years not to graduate. Now all of a sudden you get a prize. You get this great big old, it's like teaching the kids, all I have to do is do the minimal and I'm gonna get something back. And that ain't the real world. That is
Nope.
not the real world. But yeah, man, the kids, oh man, they run around with $200-300 backpacks. Some of the kids, I didn't even know they made red bottom shoes for boys. They were made $600-700, $1,000 shoes to school. Don't even make no sense to me. I can't figure it out, but I stopped trying.
and that's that's really interesting because it bothers me a little bit because like if I have the resources. My daughter is doing tutoring for math, and I just look at it like whatever it costs for my daughter to get better at anything. I mean, I coach
I'm
softball,
willing to do it. Yep.
whatever the lessons, a $300 bat, whatever. If this
Yep.
is what it takes, I'm gonna give it to you as long as you give me the effort. But I'm
That's
not
it.
going to say, "Oh, well, that's too expensive for." No. If your kid
No,
help your
no.
kid become something, it's no price that's not high enough, right?
Right.
So,
It's no price. You'll pay what you have to pay for your kids.
and
That's the part of being a
what's really
parent.
saddening about it, Chris, is that I'll let you go ahead, Ken, and jump in on this. Is that I'm always trying to hammer into people that I know that don't got a lot of resources and stuff. Man, look at what the wealthy people are doing. If they're going to pay $5 million for their kid to get into a college on the back door, why wouldn't you pay $500 for a pre-SAT test? If they're doing it, why do you think your kid?
Man, look, I had a
figure it out.
kid.
Ken, you got anything on that?
Um, some parents devalue education. They think they could cheat the system. If it was a cheat
Right.
code to just bypass the hard work, everybody would be successful. Everybody would ride around in a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. But an old saying is no dedication, no compensation. You got to be
Right.
dedicated to it.
That's
You got to
it.
want it. You can't
That's it.
just put 10% out and then think you're going to get 120% back.
It's not
You
gonna
got to
happen.
be in it to win.
Right.
You got to sacrifice.
I tell my kids all the time, everybody wants the juice, but don't nobody want the squeeze. You know what I'm saying? You gotta put in to get out. What you put in generally is what you put out. But we in this instantaneous society where kids don't gotta put in that much, and they feel like they gonna get that same high reward. It's just don't make sense. But and a lot of the times it's the parents trying to keep up with everybody else around. And what that do is get you lost in something that you will never, like the girls will be looking at TikTok videos or YouTube videos. I'm like, do you know how long it probably took her to do that? To make that? She just ain't walking down the street with makeup. She don't wake up looking like that. That took time. And you think you're gonna walk in my class making videos and this, that, and the other? No, it's beyond me.
And what's really sad, I'm gonna share a little story with you guys real quick. I got a friend that works in the fashion industry in Milan, Italy, big time, way up there. Louis Vuitton, work with all them, Dolce Gabbana, all of them. I know all those people. Runway, Russell Simmons, know all these cats. Been in the business for 20-something years. He told me something, about 2 years ago, and I was like, man, I can't believe that. So you guys probably don't remember this story. It probably was, I don't know, man, like maybe late 90s, early 2000. Tommy Hilfiger made a statement to the New York Post about basically what happened. A black kid got murdered or whatever, and the Post ran the story with the kid laying on the street with a Hilfiger jacket on, dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came out and said, man, if I'd have known these ends was going to be wearing my stuff, I would have never brought my stuff over there. Now, he retracted his statement because his sales were so high in the urban community. So one of his people pulled his coat and said, hey, man, you're making a lot of money over there off those clothes. So he pulled the statement back. But then my point of that is that the guy told me, Louis Vuitton, a couple other big-time fashion moguls, I'm not going to say who they were, but I'm going to say his name. He told me straight up, he said, Brown, it's really sad to see how many black people buy all these designer clothing and gear, but what I know is they don't even like you.
They don't even
want you wearing their stuff.
They don't even like you.
When you see Westbrook and all them with the Coogee jackets and all, they're giving them that stuff to wear.
Right.
They're not paying for it.
No.
So, but the regular people in America, if Louis Vuitton and all them had it their way, they wouldn't want you wearing their shit.
Nope.
But they doing it because you're paying for it. So that is even more sad when you think about it. Like MJ, he made shoes. Nike made shoes. The hood took him over. They're like a cult following. MJ has nothing against black people wearing Jordans.
Nope.
But my point is, these other companies across the pond, they don't really want us wearing their shit. And I just find that really bizarre how they go out there fighting and running to the malls to buy Rodeo Drive and buying all this shit, putting it all on their Instagram. Look at me.
Hey man, look, people
won't
won't buy it if it don't have a name on it.
Right.
Like it gotta have a name on it. It just make it seem like it's success. And really that's false. A pair of pants is a pair of pants. A pair of shoes is a pair of shoes. A car is just a mode of transportation. Anything else is what people do for their own ego. It's to help them with whatever insecurities they have inside of them. And I mean, I could speak from personal success. I was once one of those people. When I first started making a little money playing football, I got to get a Benz. I got to go get new shoes. I got to go get a Rolex. I got to go. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, well, they just cut me. And I got all this bullshit sitting around here, that don't mean nothing. And it's a shame, it's like Mr. Fab from the town came up to Fremont. And man, he's a hell of a dude. Dope era clothing. Go out, buy it, downtown Oakland. But he's a real cat. And he's like, don't stop spending all your money this way. Come up with your own ideas. Come up with your own clothing line. And that's what he did. And the kids love it and they flock to it. But he will also, just like Marshawn Lynch got his shop, Beast Mode down there. A lot of that stuff, they give away stuff. He do the backpack giveaways. He did the like the COVID-19 little kits for people with the mask and hand sanitizer.
Yeah, I saw him right around the lake with his little bike.
Right around the lake. And a lot of people do not take the time to do that. That's to me what it means to be a good human. Not take as much as you got. I'm mad that Easton bats cost $300 and $400, but I can't remember the last time I seen Easton come to the hood and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna supply this whole girls softball league with bats." They making hand money, hand over fist, making baseball bats, softball bats for girls, and I know they don't cost that much to make.
Oh, hell no.
Stop
Man,
it.
man,
Don't
please.
cost no $400 for no softball bat.
And just to tell you that how true that is, Easton, my daughter swings at Easton Ghost Bat, like 90% of the kids.
Right, like 90% of the kids that might crack.
This is what's funny about it. So when you buy Easton Ghost Bat, right, you go out there, boom, you crack the bat like 50 swings, right, composite. And this is how they know the shit is cheap. All you got to do is send it right back to Easton. They send you a brand new bat, the newer model.
Right.
So we've been buying. My daughter have gotten 2 Ghost Bats over the last 3 years, but it's the same bat from the original purchase because they crack so easy.
Right.
So
which don't make
so
sense.
that tells you that the material's cheap, the bat material's
Right.
cheap, and
But
yeah.
But like I know, if you a girl softball player and everybody's swinging that bat, because sports is about confidence, and you like, man, I might have drove that through if I had a ghost. So they have to have it, and which is good for them because I feel like whenever you're an athlete, you want to have everything right to you. If you don't feel right about it, then it's gonna put a little kink in your armor. So if you feel like you need to swing a ghost bat, swing a ghost bat. Could it be just as good as a Wilson or a Mizuno or whoever else is making bats now? Probably so. But my thing is like they making 300 on the low end for bats. And collegiately, so I got to make it all the way to college before I can get a free bat. It seemed like that's wrong. It seemed like the colleges should be able to pay for their bats and the youth league should be getting free bats. But
right,
that's the world.
Well, hey, so at this point, Chris, man, we gonna go ahead and tell everybody. I know we've been friends for over 35 years, so I know exactly, at least. So go ahead and tell everybody a little bit who you are, where you grew up, where were you born, what was life like growing up. Probably I'm gonna be in a lot of these stories. What was your daily routine like? Who did you hang out with? And then if you want, go ahead and throw in your glue people. I think I know who your glue people are.
Yeah.
I know all this.
A lot of them.
Go ahead and tell who your glue people is in your house and outside your house. And then when you finish that, we'll move on to a couple more things. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Oakland, California. Single mom, 2 kids, doing the best she can. She always wanted us to have the best education we could. So we started going to school in Alameda, which at the time was a better school district. Probably still is, I'm not sure. But she always did the best she could for us as far as our education. And so when I think I was in the 8th grade, we moved to Alameda. We actually moved to Alameda. I lived in some apartment buildings right behind Chipman Middle School where I met you and Blake and Carl and, a host of friends, lifelong friends. And, things there just kind of changed me a little bit. My mom always was my mom. So she was one of those, when we go in this store, don't touch nothing, don't ask for nothing, stay right here. You get out of school at 3:15, about 3:30, 3:35, you need to be in the house doing your homework. I need to see that homework. And my mom had 2 jobs. So before I could go outside, I would have to wait for her to come home at like 5, make sure I did it or at least attempted to. But you know us, I go out, play. She ain't home. What's she gonna do? Go out and play and try to get home and finish something, 15, 20 minutes before she get in and, get it done like that. But she always did the best she could. I'm proud of her for that because who knows where I would have ended up. And it wasn't just like my mom. It was like all my friends' moms, your mom. I could go to your house, and if y'all was eating, it wasn't like your mom was like, tell your friend to go home because we about to eat dinner. She'd be like, oh, you hungry? We gonna make a plate. So, I had and it was like that with a lot of my friends. Blake's mom, Margaret, Carl's. I got so many friends. From Alameda, it really just was like a hometown place. It's a lot bigger now. But back then, it was really kind of small. And we stayed on our end of the island, and more of the rich people stayed on their side of the island. And we meet up at South Shore every now and then. But as far as my mom, she had 6 sisters and 1 brother. So I come from a pretty tight family, and they all pretty much stress education, which I really wasn't too big on at the time. I cannot lie. A lot of my life has just been luck and circumstances, being at the right place at the right time. But going to Encinal, going to Chipman first was, just amazing, because I had friends that all kind of hung around each other, and not just at school, but we hung out at Woodstock, and we played baseball at Woodstock. We played football at Woodstock. It was like our park league. We knew the rec directors, and if we wasn't playing, we played basketball and football in the summer, and if it was raining, we'd be playing a little pool with the little circle checker things, and we had a place to hang out. I can't even count how many strikeout games we done played up there. I mean, we could play strikeout from sun up to sun down. And but I never really knew my dad, didn't know him at all. But my godfather pretty much, always raised me like his own son. So in the summers, I would go to LA and, hang out with him for the summer, teach me fishing, camping, really teach me what a family
Is that where you
should
used to
look
go
like.
when you used to disappear?
All the time, every summer.
No, I didn't know that. We always
Yeah.
said, where'd McCall go? Like,
Man,
we
every
had
summer.
cell phones and stuff, so we couldn't
Yeah.
really talk to each other.
And my dad, he was a mailman, and my godmother, she was a nurse. And so, he went to work every day, and, now he's retired and he runs Funnel Cake Factory, second plug, down in Riverside, Southern California. So if you need some good funnel cake, hit him up. Kenneth Bracy, the Funnel Cake Factory. And he doing good. I mean, my brother's doing good. My sister's down there doing good. It was just good. It was different from going home and having to kind of be almost like the man of the family, even though I wasn't a man, to going down to Southern California where I had a dad. He could be the man of the family. I could really just be a kid, run around and, do what we do, fish, take us camping every summer. And then my aunt, Auntie Barbara, her husband, my uncle Lee Edward, he was a postman too. And then later on in life, he became he worked at Juvenile Hall. And those 2 men pretty much gave me a good guideline of how I wanted to be when I grew up. I wanted to make sure I could hold down a job, make sure I could provide for my family. Some of the best advice my godfather ever gave me was, I was in junior college and I was getting homesick, and I had been playing football. And I mean, I was doing all right, but I didn't think I was, of course, grandeur. I didn't think I was getting the looks I should have got. So I was like, Dad, I think I just want to drop out. Can you give me a job being a mailman? I think I'm ready for a job. And I'll never forget, he looked at me and he said, you know what? You got the rest of your life to get a job. You young. If you got a dream, chase it. And he was like, I don't know if you really, he's like, I think sometimes you seem like you scared to fail. Like, are you working out like you should? Are you doing what you should? And when I really thought about it, I hadn't been. And I think that was one of the first turning points. So I actually got in the weight room and stopped dancing in the mirrors and doing all that, goofing around, and took it more serious. And things started to change, because I think that a lot of times, especially when it comes to coaches, it's their perception of you that gets you to the next level. It's like, I was just watching a draft and people say, oh, well, he got some character issues. Well, that generally come from the coaches and the staff. How does he act? Does he act like a kid still, or does he take it serious? Can you tell him something? Can he take, constructive criticism, or does he take it like a child would, where it's a personal attack? And that kind of changed my perception on stuff. And, it's not like I've coached. My roommate just asked me why I don't go back to coaching, and I just can't. It ain't the kids, it's the parents. Everybody entitled. I had a parent, I sent my son to this quarterback camp, you know, and he deserved to be the starter and get more. I spent $5,000. Yeah, son, not that good. I don't know what to tell you. He not that good. He not that good. You wasted your money. Maybe you should have spent 10,000. I don't know. But my mom never would. I mean, that was unheard of. I mean, I've literally been coaching and I'm like looking and trying to call plays. And I got somebody saying, coach, and I look over and it's one of the kids' mama asking why her son is out the game. And I was like, you didn't see him fumble? Ask all the kids. If you fumble, you can't play for me. You can play eventually. You better hope that kid in there right now fumble. I don't care if you getting 4 yards and he only getting 2. If you give me 4 yards of pop, but I'll never know when you're going to turn it over. I like consistency. So, and that's the thing now. The parents don't want to, they think they just as big. They trying to be GMs and agents. And when they kids is in the 7th, 8th grade, I got kids that told me they didn't want to play football because they want to focus on basketball. And I'm like, man, you was 5'11". You 6 feet. You might could play DB, wide out. It's a lot of positions you could play in football. But right now at 6 feet, yeah. What position you play? Oh, forward. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's because both the guards is 5'7", 5'8".
Right.
So it's like you're not being realistic with yourself. And a lot of the parents are unrealistic with their expectations. My mom never pushed me like that. My grandmother loves sports. She the reason I love sports. We would listen to the A's games, listen on the radio. She would take us to the A's games. It was just crazy. She loves sports, so I love sports. And she, made me want to play sports. I just like being on the team. You know that, Brian. We should just be on teams because our friends on the team.
Absolutely.
That was just it. Just the camaraderie and hanging out.
One of my things when I'm coaching, because I used to get that a little bit, but I used to always talk with the kids after practice and tell them, go home and talk to your parents about what's going on in practice. Don't let them know what's going on. I had a team and I had some younger players, and the younger players used to start over these older players. So some of the parents would be like, well, how this young boy? And I say, no, hold on. Talk to your son. Your son ain't been telling you? And I say, go talk to your son. Because I tell the kids, they earned it. Like, I'm not giving nobody nothing for free. These young dudes I get to practice, they already at practice working. After practice, they stay in doing extra. But
they doing extra.
I tell the parent, your son don't even really want to play basketball. He doing this for you. And they look like, huh? Like, yeah, he don't love
he don't
this.
Got
like,
that passion.
He gets to practice with a frown. He don't come to practice happy. But I would tell the kids, let your parents know. So a lot of my kids would tell their parents, he better than me, Mom. He shoot better than me. He dribble better than me.
Right.
He play defense better than me. Like, I'd say, ask your son. You don't see your son over here pouting because he know in practice this guy earned it. And some coaches have other motives, and they don't always make people, always make people earn it. Whether it's if you're dating a mama
or
somebody that paid a little extra or something like that, I always let the kids earn it. And then I always would tell the kids, I'm brutally honest. So if your parents want to come talk to me, let them know.
I'm going to tell them.
It ain't no disrespect, but I'm a straight shooter, and I failed sensitivity training.
That's what I tell them. I tell them all the time. I don't got time.
That's real talk, man. That's real talk. And me coaching down here, and I had I'm not going to go too much. This ain't about me, but I'm by nature, I'm a basketball guy, but I got football knowledge too. But when I got into softball, and one of the things when I came down here, and even in Alameda, it ain't just Southern Cal, but down here is really big. So it's a bigger beast down here. And one thing I know about this, and we all three can agree on this, man. I don't know, man, how much longer I'm going to last in the game, because one of the problems that I'm having is that let me just back up. My team, the parents on my team, they don't get in my ear. Like they don't say like Brown, why, who playing. I don't have that problem. So I have a really good group of parents in that aspect. But one of the problems that I do notice in the softball community, period, man, you talking about some daddy ball favoritism stuff going on.
Oh, man.
Like there's teams I know down here that are pretty good, right? And I'm hearing because I'll be listening more than what I hear way better than I see. So when I hear coaches say, oh, that girl come from rec, like, okay, they have this conception that kids in rec can't play travel ball. It is
Right.
the lie ever told. The reason why some kids don't play travel ball because they can't afford it.
Exactly.
The parents can't get them back and forth and whatever. So a lot of these top organizations, I'm not going to say their names and throw them under the bus, but they will brag about, oh, we're a PGF qualifying team and we went to nationals, woo, woo, woo. And then what they don't talk about is how many kids they got on the team. They got like 20 freaking girls on the team, 25 kids on the team. And then when they go to these qualifying tournaments, they pull up kids out of nowhere, out of the woodwork, and show up. So what I'm asking you, Chris, is like, I have a hard time of riding a kid's back just for my name. I'm not doing that.
Right. No.
I'm here to coach fundamentals.
Right.
If we
That's
win
it.
the game,
We
great.
win.
If we
Right.
lose the game, oh well. But if we play the game right, we win. So playing the game right is the most important thing to me, teaching the kids.
That's it.
Right. But down here, man, they got 12 and 13, 11-year-old kids. They putting stuff in their head like, oh, yeah, you got to keep grinding, work hard, and you can get a scholarship. And I'm looking around going like, ain't none of these kids getting no scholarships. And you know how hard it is to get a Division I scholarship in softball? I mean, half of that shit is luck, first of all.
Right.
It's money.
Right.
So if you ain't on the plateau of these national teams, they're not even looking at you Division I.
Right. They're not going to see you.
These coaches are really ridiculous, dude.
Right.
They walk around like, my team, look at my girl over here. That's a 14-year-old girl, dude. You had nothing to do with that. That kid can play. You really think they winning because of you? Really?
Right.
See, I come from the old school. Players win championships, bro. Only thing coaches do is just organize it. And
Put you in the right place.
Right. And teach good fundamentals. My brother played against high school. They went 10-0. Pete Noble, was he a good coach? Yeah. Did I think he was a great coach? Hell no. He had loaded rosters, what he had.
Right.
Okay.
And it stayed loaded for a long time. And that's the thing. It's like a lot of these schools, especially, and one thing I learned when I went to junior college, because I didn't plan on playing football. Kelly Robertson, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Long Beach.
He talked me into going out. I was like, man, I ain't playing. I'm just going to go to school. And then I went and watched practice, and he was practicing. And I was like, oh, these dudes really ain't that good. And they won a championship last year. And I was like, oh, well, let me go talk to the coach and see how can I be down? And that's how it all started. I mean, I had no aspirations after NCNL because the stock at NCNL was so high. Like everyone to me was like good or great. Yeah. I mean, I tell people all the time when I was in middle school, we used to walk to the high school games. We used to walk to the games to watch the JV and the varsity game. And those was the dudes I like to watch. JR's brother, David Ryder and Jesse Mims and Jesse Talatasi. And, those are the dudes, Cornell Childs, Alex Jackson. Those was the dudes I watched. I was like, one day I want to wear that uniform and play like them. I want to rep the big blue. And, it wasn't a favoritism thing so much until you got older. They wanted everybody to play for the freshmen. But then once you got past freshmen, it could be a little squirrely. Like I tell people, I have friends, they don't believe that I was like, man, I was just another dude on my high school team. I was like in 11th grade, I played JV. They was like, what? I'd be like in 11th grade, I played JV. I go, I ain't ashamed to say it. They told me I wasn't good enough to play varsity and I needed to stay on JV for another year. You didn't want to quit? Yeah, I did want to quit. But I was like, what I look like quitting? Who am I really quitting on? My friends that's on JV? My friend, just because I'm older? If anything, I took it upon myself to be like, you know what? I am in 11th grade, so we're going to have the best JV team we can have. We're going to have some leaders on this team. We're going to win some games, and that's what we did.
We killed it.
So, and then, going to the next year, that's one thing about NCNL that I think helped me throughout my whole career. The competition was always A1. There was no, you just the dude, you just that dude. I mean, we had good backs, we had good quarterbacks, we had every position. We pretty much was pretty loaded. We didn't have a weak defense. We had a great defense. We had a decent enough offense, decent enough coaching.
Yeah.
So I thought we always played above our head. I tell people all the time, when I was a freshman and we used to beat De La Salle. We used to go up there and beat them. But then they started this streak and everyone's like, De La Salle's this, De La Salle that. And I'm like, I don't remember it like that. I don't remember it like that. But, they got feeder programs. Once the Alameda Braves kind of went away and it kind of stopped that little feeder program that they had going. I never played for the Braves. I felt like at NCNL, if you played for the Braves, then you did have an in. If you played for Alameda Braves or Warriors, then the coaches knew about you and you might have a little bit better shot.
That's why me and you, when we went out, we were kind of into dark horses because we both transferred in. Like I came from Chicago and you came from Oakland, and we didn't have no pro. I had a little bit more profile than you because my brother was a star player there.
Right.
But that didn't carry no weight because he was a senior.
Was the dudes. Right. Yeah. Andre Hillstock. I mean, we had some dudes that was, great. And we had a real simple brand of football, which I still use to this day. Like, that is one thing I will say about NCNL. We didn't have no heck of tricks and this, that, and the other. We ran the ball. We ran simple routes, but we played tough and we played as a team. And, that'll go a long way. But the competition factor just made it to where I don't think, I never had as much competition all my days. Because once you get to the pros, they already know who's gonna play and who not.
Yeah.
It's written in their contract. So you could be like, oh, I'm gonna outwork all these dudes. No, you're not. that dude got drafted in the first round. You might just want to try to hold on to a roster spot.
But man, hey, Chris, we're running a little bit out of time here. I was going Ken, you want to ask him a question about the last topic we got going on?
Anything y'all want?
No, he covered it pretty good.
He did pretty good, yeah. So let me ask you this though. One more question in here, and I'll let you get out of here. Chris, can you played in the NFL for the New Orleans Saints and the San Diego Chargers, and you've been up there, and you played in college big time with Freeze, them boys up there in the Big Sky Conference, and I remember watching you play. You was a force, man. We all played hard, and I remember watching you play. I'm thinking that you get all that shit from our defensive end drills. We just kill cat.
People don't believe I played defensive end in high school.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Yeah, I know. Let me ask you this, Chris. So when you went in the league, you had a couple black coaches. I know Denny Green, and you knew a couple cats out there. Can you enlighten us why we don't have the leadership is just not there. No black coaches, no black GM. I mean, I can probably surmise why, but Chris, can you explain? Let us inside of an NFL locker room why they can be assistants and strength coaches and all that stuff, but when it comes time to let them be the HC, like for example, one of the things that resonate with me is when Lovie Smith was coaching the Chicago Bears, they went 10-6 with sorry ass Jay Cutler, and they didn't make the playoffs, and they fired him. They went. I don't know if I remember that. They went 10-6.
I tell people all the time, man. Yeah. Tony Dungy, a hell of a football coach, but he don't even get the credit he deserves. Tony Dungy is like an afterthought when you think about black head football coaches. And Tony Dungy was, a beast in Indianapolis.
And that Tampa team, that was Tony's team. That wasn't John Gruden's team.
That was Tony's team. So I think it's, I just think that, you got to work harder. You got to be able to, anything you say as a black man, kind of almost in any professional thing, you got to kind of watch how you say it. Like somebody else could be in a meeting and be like, oh, fuck. But if you say it, everybody going to be like, is he angry? What's wrong with him? Does he have an attitude? I mean, I've had coaches, black coaches, that was great and should have got a chance on the next level or somewhere they just didn't because it's so easy to overlook. It's just like I tell people, it's like white DBs. A white DB just got to be just as average as a black DB. If you a black DB, you got to damn near be great. But if you white, you gonna get a shot because that's what they looking for. So it just makes it easier, and that's my opinion. I mean, one thing I do love about sports is because it brings a lot of different people from different backgrounds, different colors together, working for a common goal, and that's winning. Um, I played at the University of Idaho where most of our team was white. We had a lot of black dudes. They played DB, running back, and wide receiver. We didn't have one black O lineman. We didn't have one black D lineman. We had one black linebacker. And so, but we all worked together. Did I get along with everybody? No. Did everybody get along with me? No. I mean, and it's just kind of how it was. We accepted it, but we all did play together. I mean, I've had fights with some of my teammates who, at the time, I would consider them racist. But I was young and immature, and guess what? They probably thought that I was stereotypical because of how I dress. I was from California. Here I am in Idaho. You know, it's California. You got us Northern Cal. You got a certain kind of swag. Well, they don't see that every day. And until it got around to real deep conversations, and some I had after I was playing, I didn't understand it. You know, I thank them because it actually helped me understand myself better. But I think that a lot of times, you know, you can't just be ordinary. You could be white and be a little bit ordinary, but if you black in a lot of positions in this world, you're gonna have to be extraordinary. Some gonna have to, really stick out. One thing, and I'm a Raider fan, and everybody know this. But Al Davis, he gave the best people a shot. He hired Amy Trask, one of the first females. He hired Tom Flores, Hispanic, Art Shell. So if you was the best person he felt for the job,
Gene
you got
Upshaw was
that
the
shot.
first black GM that he hired.
Gene Upshaw. I mean, we talking about somebody who really didn't kind of see color. He just wanted to win. And when you really, really want to win, you can look past that. But I feel like some of these organizations don't really want to win. That's what I love. I'm, of course, Bay Boy. I'm a Warrior fan. Until the Lakers came in there, I was like, are we really committed to winning around here? I mean, are we really committed to winning?
Nope. Our draft
because we wasn't. Our
weren't.
draft choices showed it. Our draft
Chris,
choices
Chris,
showed
let me stick this question here real quick because you played in the NFL and I want to get some people some inside looks on what's going on. I got one question and we'll get up out of here. Chris, can you for example, the Last Dance, the Bulls, they showing the intertwinings of what went on in that locker room and what was making things click and spin. And they showing Mike had his own personal trainer right there with him the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Tell us what's going on. Like who really runs? For example, when I tune the NFL game on Sunday and I see the head coach walking down the sideline, depending on who that coach is, I don't think he's running shit. Personally, that's just me. So can you tell me who actually run these franchises, man? Who be making these players really get down? It got to be those coordinators. Who's running it, Chris?
It'd be the coordinators. It'd be all the support staff, the coordinators from the dude that give you your equipment. I mean, in San Diego, the dude name was Doc. He was cool, had domino tournament. Doc was cool with. He ran. If the locker room got too loud, Doc will let you know. I mean, the guys that make the money. I mean, in San Diego, Junior Seau really wasn't a real loud type person, except maybe on game day. He was a real cool, smooth cat, no matter what, but he kind of ran it. It was some other guys. Gil Bird played DB, went to San Jose State, I think, and he kind of ran it. And he had kind of acquired demeanor. The head coach, I could tell you right now, I don't even think Dan Henning knew my name. I was in the elevator and Dan Henning got on and he just kind of looked and kept doing what he was doing. And I was like, hey, coach. And he kind of looked at me like, hey, player? Or are you one of the dudes that bring the water? Like, who is this dude? But Some of the coaches, different coaches, different styles. When I was with the Saints, Jim Moore Jr., not Jim Moore, the dad, but his son was my DB coach. And Jim Moore Jr. is one of the most personable people off the field. On the field, he gonna tell you what he think to make you better. If you don't like his style, you don't have to. He was a nice dude. I think he played at the University of Washington. He was a nice enough dude, and he wouldn't let nobody run over him, but he kind of got us going. You know, one thing about when you playing for money is like, you know, the only time y'all come together is on Sunday, because Sunday, the more games you win, the more money you're going to get. Besides that, it's individual. Like, I'm trying to keep this job, take a job. Dudes get ruthless. Dudes are, you know, turn your alarm clock off. You know, don't tell you about a meeting that the coach said, make sure everybody at. But the coordinators and the support staff, the dudes that put the baby oil and lotion in your locker room and make sure you take all your dirty stuff, they kind of run the show. The owners, who are they? If you lose, you're not going to see them. Even in college, I mean, John L. Smith in college, I would say the head coach is more like the daddy. He don't want to be the bad guy. He don't want to be the disciplinarian bad guy. He let all the other assistant coaches do that, and then he'll come and be like, well, you know, I got to do this so we keep everything even. But the assistant coaches, GAs, graduate assistants, assholes, all of them.
Okay.
I mean, they just are. I mean, I think, yeah, so.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, man. That's what I kind of was told by a couple of people. I don't want to do no name dropping, but I got a boy that used to play for the Falcons and the Raiders. And, man, I forgot I will drop his name. No, I won't drop his name. But he was telling me about a lot of situations about the NFL, how it operates. And he said, really, you'll be shocked how much the head coaches don't got nothing to do with nothing. But Ken, go ahead. This is the part. I think he already did it. Go ahead and do the plug for us.
Yeah, so that's the part that, you know, plug your business or some businesses you feel in the community that's worthy, that's been helping out the community that kind of go with the glue. You already got 2 plugs in. You can replug them too, and you know, go ahead and get your plug in.
I'm gonna get my plug in with my roommate. He got a bar in San Francisco called Local Tap Bar and Grill. It's off of 3rd and Bruno, 2 blocks away from Oracle. Good burgers, good beer. They kid friendly and they dog friendly. You can go in and say hi to Paula C. Girls on the Run. It's a national program. It empowers elementary school girls, teaches them life skills. They have an after-school program, which the coronavirus, we don't know, so we might need more, you know, volunteer life coaches than ever. And last is the Squires program, which is one I work with, where we take young at-risk youth from Oakland, mostly Oakland high schools and some middle schools. We take them out to San Quentin. It's not like Scared Straight, but prisoners can talk to them and tell them what their lives have been like, you know, and some of the mistakes they made to try to help some of these youth don't make those same mistakes. And, you know, the glue.
Yep.
Got to get that in, man.
Man, right on, Chris, man. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm going to ask you to come back.
Man. Anytime.
I'm going to ask you to come back later on as some things develop. I really want to tap into a couple more issues with you, because you have so much experience working with kids and coaching and being at that high level in the NFL.
Autism awareness. Remember that during the COVID, kids with autism and special needs are suffering out there. But almost lost my phone. Somebody trying to call me. My bad.
Okay, Chris. But hey, man, we're gonna get out of this. This thing gonna cut us off. I want to thank you, brothers, for
Hey, man, I love you, Brown. You know
I love you too, Chris.
You, man, we go way back, bro. Way back. Ain't nothing I want to do for you. Yeah, you got it. I appreciate your time, gentlemen.
Ken, always thankful, man, for you showing up and helping me out, Ken. You're a good brother.
Yep. I appreciate you, Ken. Appreciate it, man. Good show, man. Y'all keep it going, man. I'll be right here, man. You need anything, let me know.
Peace.
All right.
Right on, Chris.
Peace.
One love.
One love.